Welcome to the High Performance Disciple podcast. My name is Gareth Morgan, and my goal is to help you close the gap between your God-given potential and your daily performance. What I do is I explore the explosive combination of timeless spiritual principles and high performance practices that will enable you to take control, to be courageous, and to release the greatness that is in you. This conversation is designed to help high achieving, high impact leaders, entrepreneurs, athletes, and pioneers turn fear into faith, confusion into clarity, frustration into focus, and stress into strategy. If you enjoy what you hear, I would love for you to like it, to subscribe, to comment, and share it with others that you believe in. Here's today's conversation. Well, welcome to another episode of the High Performance Disciple podcast. And I want to dive in today on a subject that might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's what this is all about. We want to improve, we want to grow, we want to get better. And that doesn't come without being made to feel uncomfortable or asking some uncomfortable questions. I want to dive in with this question. How important to you is it that you are seen to be successful? How important is it to you that you are seen to be successful? A little bit of a story from my journey. Whenever I have attended leadership gatherings, whether that would be within the faith sector, within business, within whatever sphere or organization that I was working with or mingling with, how I would feel in anticipation of that gathering would be based upon how things were going for me personally. If the results that I was seeing as a leader were making me feel good, I was happy with the results, they would reflect well on me and my leadership, then I would look forward to those gatherings. I'd look forward to people asking me, Gareth, how are things going? Let me share with you a few stories. And of course, I would rattle off how well things are going. But the same would be true adversely. In other words, when things weren't going well, when the results weren't reflecting on the kind of leader I wanted people to view me as, or the level of success that they would expect from me, then I would not be looking forward to that gathering. Why? Because I know I would hear lots of stories from other people of success that would intimidate me. They would make me feel, in my own eyes, less of a success. I would allow their stories to intimidate me because my stories weren't strong enough. My stories weren't projecting the kind of leader that I wanted to be seen as. As human beings, we become intimately linked, and we have an intimate relationship with our results. And the reason for that is because those results for us become a mirror. We look at our results and what is reflected back to us, whether they are positive, negative results, whether they are over and above what we would expect or way below what we would have wanted. It then reinforces to us how we view ourselves. And at the heart of every human being, we are self-critical or insecure. We have some form of pride, and pride isn't just thinking more of ourselves than we should. It can be the opposite end of the spectrum. It can be a form of self-pity. In other words, where I'm so down on myself that still my life is all about me. You see, that's what pride is. Pride is when I make myself the center of my life and my focus. So that can be whether I'm thinking too much of myself or actually not thinking much of myself at all. Either which one it is, both are pride and both create a barrier in terms of our personal growth and our ability to be real. And I'm going to come to that in the moment. But I look back and I see this journey, and let me tell you right now, let me be brutally honest with you. I haven't been to the doctors and had it cured. I haven't had a vaccine against it. I wish there was a vaccine against it. I still have a tension when it comes to results. Because in my humanity, my default setting says that those results are my mirror. They reflect back on me. And other people's results play a part in building up a picture of how well I'm doing. That's why we engage in comparison. Because we're intimately linked and intimately involved with results. And let me give you this as a principle that I've learned, again, from my own experience. What we get intimate with shapes our identity. What we get intimate with shapes our identity. And so that's why results become so important, because our identity becomes entrenched in those results. And I want to encourage us, first of all, to take uncomfortable action and admit it. And whether that's admitting it to somebody that you're listening or watching this with, or maybe share this with somebody else and just say, hey, just to let you know, I suffer from this problem too. Honestly, getting that off your chest and out into the open at first will feel brutally challenging, and it will feel like you're inflicting a wound on yourself. But do you know what? It's mightily releasing. Because it's only when we are in a place of authenticity that we can start to build a roadmap of growth. It's only when we are in a place where we're almost, and hear me right when I say this, I don't want this to sound weird, when we are naked. You see, you've got to understand, again, this podcast is how spiritual principles and high performance practices collide to enable us to become high performing, healthy leaders that others want to imitate. And you go back in the biblical story right back to the Garden of Eden, and when Adam and Eve were in a perfect world, they were in an environment where they were encouraged to increase and to grow. So a perfect world in God's sight is an environment for high performance and high productivity. So be encouraged. Your desire for high performance and high productivity is rooted in God. But of course, what happened was Satan pounced on the fact that God had created a boundary for Adam and Eve and essentially said that you mustn't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Otherwise, you will surely die. In other words, by obeying me, you keep yourself under my government, my rules, which are there not to keep you suppressed and to hold you back. Completely the opposite. They are boundaries for growth. But if Adam and Eve decided to ignore God's instruction, and he had to, and people say, well, why did God have to put that option there? In a perfect world, why even give the opt-out? But God's original intention was to have a relationship. And you can't have a relationship without the ability to opt out, because it doesn't. If you don't have the ability to opt out, then opting in means nothing. I'm blessed 21 years. I had to just think for a second. I am blessed 21 years marriage to Leanne, because we made a choice 21 years ago that we were opting in. The reality is that either one of us could choose to opt out. And every year we celebrate our anniversary It's a reminder that we're not stuck in something. We remain opted in. We consistently choose to be in this relationship. And that's at the heart of a thriving, growing relationship. It's the same when it comes to high-performing teams. We don't want people who are just existing because they have to be there. That's where things start to die. We want people who are consistently turning up and opting in. The moment you've got people in your team, you've got people in a partnership in a business where they're just coexisting, and it's maybe they see it as the lesser of two evils, and better the devil and that kind of thing. Then immediately that relationship is actually dying. Your relationship is either dying or it's growing. Your business, your church, your organization is either dying or it's growing. And at the heart of that is the level of opt-in, of how many people are leaning in and are hungry and are saying, I'm in. I'm in. And it's not a one-off decision. It's a consistent disposition. If you as a leader are looking for other high-performing leaders, look for those who are leaning in. Start to define, what does leaning in look like? Leaning in, the hunger, the desire to learn, the desire to innovate, to create, not to just do what's always been done and to be predictable in the negative sense of the word. But anyway, let me come back to that relationship with Adam and Eve and with God. Of course, in the perfect world, they were naked. There was no shame. And Satan tempted Adam and Eve to opt out of the relationship with God and offered them the fruit of the tree and got them to focus on the fruit. Now, fruit in the Bible is a reflection of results. Think about it. The fruit of a tree is the result of the tree. The profit of a business is the fruit of the business. Okay? So Satan knew that if he could get Adam and Eve to focus on the fruit, then they would opt out because they could bypass a process that they would have journeyed with God. Because here's the thing, and I was talking this through with my coach the other day, and he said this. He said, it wasn't God's intention to keep us ignorant when God prohibited man from eating of the tree of knowledge and good and evil. But it was his intention to keep us innocent. And my coach, Mal Fletcher, was sharing that, and I thought, do you know what? That is so true. He wanted to keep us innocent, not ignorant. And when Adam and Eve chose to eat of that fruit, they opted out of the relationship and they became intimately involved with the result, fruit being the result. And because they opted out of the relationship, which was forming their identity because they were made in the image of God, then that's when the journey of mankind, and trace it all the way to what I'm saying to you right now that I struggle with, and I'm going to guess that you struggle with as well, which is we become intimately linked to our results, because we try and allow that to build our identity, which leads to a roller coaster of emotions as leaders. When things are going well, we feel like we're a great leader. When things are going bad, we feel like a bad leader. And the truth is, I am not my results. Let me say that again. And if you are in a position to do so right now, I want to encourage you to say that out loud. This could be freeing for you today. I am not my results. I am not my results. Now, let me put a caveat there. I am responsible for my results, but I am not my results. And when Adam and Eve, of course, opted out of that relationship, they ended up feeling the shame of their nakedness, the self-consciousness of man, the desire from that moment on to be seen in a good light was birthed. And ever since, that's what we've struggled with. Our lives are built around how we want to be seen. And because we could go in a number of different directions with that, but when it comes to high performance, if I build my leadership, my life, my performance around how I am seen, then I am controlled by external factors. I coach people within all different kinds of fields, and in one particular area of professional football, if you listen to this in America or other places, you might call it soccer. And having a son who is an aspiring footballer, when you become obsessed by the views of other people and how other people are viewing you while you're playing, you cannot truly express yourself. Everything you do is to be seen in the right light. Did they see me? Did that coach observe what I just did there? Or did I get away with that because maybe I made a mistake? And all of a sudden, my performance is controlled by the outside in. You cannot truly perform at your optimum level when you are controlled by external factors and external voices or eyes. You cannot perform to the best of who you are. What we have to do is separate ourselves from results. We have to realize that actually I release the results when I lead from who I truly am, my true identity. And this is where every day we have to make a choice. We have to make a choice that says, today I am going to lead and live from my values. Now, I do an exercise about how you develop your own personal core values. You can check that out on this YouTube channel if you're watching it. If you're listening to this on a podcast, go to youtube.com/Gareth Morgan TV. There's a video on there called Know Your Purpose, and through that online event that I did, I can take you through how you develop and discern your values. But each day I need to align how I'm going to live and lead from those values. And what that is that takes me away from being results driven to being process driven. The enjoyment is in the journey, not the destination. God is more into the process than the results. God knows the results flow from the process. It's not that he's not bothered about the results, but that the results come from the process. The problem is we're the other way round. We want the results without the process. And it goes all the way back to the fact that Adam and Eve wanted to be like God without the process. And if you want to unleash your next level of performance, and here's a key word here, because performance is about consistency. There's no good just having a performance one day and not the next. How do I build consistency? I work and I lead and I live from my values, not from my results. There will be bad days. There will be days when results are lacking, and that's just the way it is. And yes, go and have a look and understand why that is, but allow that to feed back into the process of who you're becoming. I really hope just through this conversation I have got to the root, because this is a root issue now. This is not just kind of a little tactic. This is a root issue that if we can start to unpack this more and more, and we may take some of the next few episodes to look at this, that if I can start falling in love with the process of who I'm becoming, rather than becoming obsessed and intimately linked to my results, then I will enjoy it more. I'll be truly authentic in who I am. And then when I'm doing those two things, the results actually go to a whole nother level. I can truly optimize my performance because my performance is linked to the person that I truly am. And for me, the potential that God has invested in me. Regardless of your faith, worldview, whether you have a faith in God or not, you can align yourself to your values, become intimately involved in the process of who you're becoming rather than the results that you're producing. And you know what? You'll start to not see your results as a mirror, but you'll actually see your process as a window through which you can see a better future, more opportunity and hope for tomorrow. Listen, let's take control. Let's be courageous. Let's release that greatness. Until next time, take care. I hope today's episode was helpful to you. You can get more by subscribing to my channel, and I have more content and tools that can help you on your journey if you'd like to head over to garethmorgan.tv. Remember, today and every day you are a champion, and there is more in you than you think.